If you've been gardening for a while, whether you're just starting out or you've had your hands in the soil for years, you've probably heard every fertilizer trick in the book, from expensive store-bought boosters to homemade concoctions that promise the moon. But, today, I want to share something that's not just another trend. I stumbled upon this by accident, tried it myself on a test patch, and the results were so shocking I had to dig deeper. Fellow gardeners, welcome to the Grass Brew, a 2-ingredient powerhouse that's outgrowing chemical fertilizers and transforming tired soil into a living, breathing nutrient machine. This is not just a tip. This is a breakthrough. It started with a pile of grass clippings I ignored after mowing. Normally, I compost them or use them as mulch, but this time the pile got rained on, started heating up, and released a rich, earthy smell, almost like compost tea. Something told me there was more to it. So, I gathered the grass, soaked it intentionally, and let it brew. On a whim, I added just one more ingredient, and that was the game changer. After applying it to my vegetable bed, the plants responded almost instantly. Leaves deepened in color, soil became loose and alive, and root development exploded. That was the moment I realized, this is no ordinary fertilizer substitute. This is a liquid biostimulator. Grass is one of the fastest growing biomass sources on Earth, and anything that grows that fast is loaded with growth hormones like cytokinins and auxins, natural plant boosters. When grass breaks down in water, it releases media group, grass clippings soaking in water, close-up of nitrogen-rich green plant material, liquid extract from grass stalk a distribute which unequally, nitrogen in a pre-digested form, amino acids that feed soil microbes, natural rooting hormones, and enzymes that speed up plant metabolism. Most fertilizers only feed plants. Grass Brew feeds the soil life, and they in return feed your plants continuously and naturally. Instead of dumping salts into your soil like chemical fertilizers do, you're activating a living network of fungal threads and beneficial bacteria that work in harmony with your plant roots. That's the true secret. Grass alone ferments slowly, but when you add just a little sugar source, like molasses, brown sugar, or even overripe fruit juice, you kickstart a microbial bloom. That sugar feeds the bacteria responsible for liquefying the grass and unlocking deep nutrients. This is where the magic happens. The sugar forces the brew into active fermentation, generating heat, enzymes, plant hormones, and a liquid so nutrient-dense that plants respond within days. You won't need fancy equipment, just determination and a barrel or bucket. Here's how you do it, step by step. First, collect fresh grass clippings. The greener and fresher, the better, and definitely avoid chemically treated lawns. Next, fill a bucket or drum halfway, pressing the grass down lightly but not compacting it too much. Then, add water until everything is just submerged. Rainwater or dechlorinated water works best because, well, chlorine kills microbes. Now add your sugar source. 1 cup of molasses, or brown sugar for every 10 liters, or about 2.5 gallons, of water. Stir well. After that, cover loosely and let it brew for 5 to 7 days, stirring daily. Expect bubbles, foam, and a fermented smell. That means it's alive. After about a week, the liquid should be dark, almost tea-like, and slightly frothy. That's your Grass Brew gold. Alright, so, when it comes to using this brew, you'll want to dilute it. Mix 1 part brew with 5 parts water for general feeding. Now if you've got seedlings or, more sensitive plants, go ahead and dilute it even further, like 1 to 10. You can apply it directly to the soil or use it as a root drench about once a week. For foliar feeding, just make sure you strain it carefully so you don't clog up your sprayers, and always spray in the early morning. Honestly, within just a few days, you'll notice leaf color getting deeper, soil turning spongier and darker, and your plants standing taller with thicker stems. Some gardeners might be thinking, isn't this just compost tea or fermented plant juice? Well, here's the difference. Compost tea relies on what's already in compost, but Grass Brew uses fresh plant hormones that are still active in green grass. Jadam liquid fertilizer, or JLF, can take weeks or even months to fully mature. But Grass Brew is fast, ready in just a week, and incredibly active. Plus, grass is more hormone-rich than most plants used for teas. So, you're not just feeding your plants, you're actually signaling them to grow. From my own experiments, And from what I've heard from passionate gardeners who jumped on this quickly, here's what stands out. Tomatoes and peppers developed thicker stems and deeper roots. Leafy greens like kale and spinach turned a darker, richer green almost overnight. Squash and cucumbers showed rapid flower production. Root crops like carrots and beets grew with more uniform roots and softer soil around them. And even houseplants responded beautifully when you applied it sparingly. You know, the most surprising result wasn't just the plant growth, it was actually the change in soil texture. Compact, tired garden beds suddenly loosened up, and earthworms started showing up out of nowhere. There was real life in the soil, and honestly, that's the true victory for any gardener. Chemical fertilizers, well, they feed plants once. Grass Brew, on the other hand, wakes the soil up and keeps it working all season long. When your microbes are alive, you end up reducing the need for fertilizers altogether. Here's something I tested myself and now absolutely swear by. After brewing, toss in a handful of finished compost or a scoop of your native soil before straining, and let it sit for another 24 hours. This brings in a diverse microbial community, making your brew biologically richer and just more balanced overall. It's kind of like upgrading your fertilizer to a bio-intelligent plant food. Now, I get a lot of questions about this. Will it smell bad? Yep. But that's actually a sign it's working. If it smells sweet-sour, kind of like silage or fermented fruit, that's perfect. If it smells like sewage, it went anaerobic. Just add more sugar and stir it aggressively to recover. Can I use dry grass? You can, but fresh grass has way more enzymes and hormones. Dry grass works, but it's slower. How long does it last? Aim to use it within 2 weeks. After that, it loses its biological activity, so always brew fresh for the best results. More and more gardeners are shifting from products to processes, from buying fertilizer to actually building soil life. This 2-ingredient grass brew is a perfect example of how something so simple can outperform way more complicated solutions. When we return to soil wisdom, nature really does reward us generously. So, if this got you excited to experiment and transform your garden naturally, you're definitely in the right place. Soilsage Chronicles is all about discovering powerful, forgotten, and farmer-tested secrets that actually work. If you found this useful, hit subscribe, share this with a fellow gardener, and let's wake the soil together. More powerful brews and soil hacks are coming, so don't miss them.